person.
The fire in my heart will never burn out.
I forgot. I think my mic might need to warm up a little bit. I remember Boss for making fun of me for that, because the fact that my mic needs a second before you can fully hear anything I'm saying. I'm sure right now everything's still like a mumble and whatnot, but that's fine. I'm just gonna give it the second it needs. I could be completely wrong and it's working, but I'll take my chances. Also, just gonna toss some music on. I don't plan to be gaming that, and I'm deleting this from Twitch, and I'm just putting it on YouTube. My little area, my little corner. God, Charborg has so many good songs. I wonder if he has a playlist somewhere. Okay. Oh, there's more than a demo to this song? Cool. I guess, yeah, I think that's a good amount of songs. Anywho, I think at this point my mic should be definitely be warmed up enough to the point where you can hear me. I'm gonna lower this down because YouTube copyright strikes. Oh my god, yeah, I played a bit of that new hero today.
I am always ready to learn.
She's interesting. She's alright. Funny enough, first game I did all queued all, and I got DPS, and I immediately got to try her, and I got play of the game. Heck, wacky. People are comparing her to Phoenix from Rivals a lot, and I see it, but I don't know. I feel like Phoenix from Rivals is really fucking strong compared to, I don't even know her name. I just call her Fire Lady. I don't want to butcher it. I'm sure the way it's shown is the way it's pronounced, but I don't know. I don't want to do that. I don't want to just gamble on a guess. I'll just wait until I hear it from somebody else, or, you know, just streamers or something. I wonder if I sound like I'm just mumbling, but I mainly am just tired, really. I'm not trying to mumble necessarily. I just, you know, the way I sound like I do, besides just being born that way, it's, I don't know. My entire life, I just don't really I haven't really made an effort to speak, most times. I mean, I used to speak a lot as a kid, and it was just plain Spanish, but kind of lost the language a bit as I went, and only adapted to slang, and I don't know. People made fun of me for the way I sounded as time went. So I grew more and more discouraged to speak half the time. And then, I don't know. I mean, people never really asked me for, like, my point of view, or even things as simple as, you know, what you been up to type of shit. So I never really had much of a reason to say much. And, you know, I don't say that as in a, like, saddening way of things. You kind of get used to it, and sure, you can use the same thing I tell mostly everybody. Just because you're used to something doesn't mean it's good. But it's just the truth. There's nothing I can do to go back and change it, and I just kind of accepted it just because it doesn't hurt me in any way, shape, or form. It makes me sad to an extent, but I mean, as you grow older, I guess you kind of stop caring less about those things, and it's okay. It sucks, but I think I got a lot more to deal with than to have to worry about something like that. But nonetheless, I'm sure even having the stream up is strange to people, but it's not the first one I've made of these. Most of them were just kind of hidden. And as to why they're hidden, I don't know. It's not like anyone will ever see them. Not until I fucking, I'm 6 feet under and everything I've written down to who I left, I'll probably find it with access to everything I have and whatnot. But not spoiling that. But I think in a sense I tend to do these in case, I don't know, in case that day does end up coming, or I don't know, leaving a part of me somewhere, somehow, either for myself to come back to or for someone else to find and find whatever they want from it. And again, this isn't going to be staying on Twitch. This is just the only way I know how to do it, where I'm streaming on here, it transfers to YouTube, and so on and so forth. And that ain't hidden. You can look through anything all you want. But I can't sleep. I haven't been able to sleep well in God knows how long. I just toss and turn, and I dream about things that I just never stop thinking about. And it kind of contradicts itself, what I just said at the end there, because it's always been like that for me, where I can't sleep sometimes because I just start thinking about, I don't know, I guess everything I hold, And it's pretty suffocating at times, but just gotta learn how to manage, and sometimes you gotta learn to just let it happen. And it hurts. It's a lot, overwhelming. I get my fair share of just anxiety attacks out of them, and it's exhausting, but I've done everything I can to suppress it all and cope and medicine and blah blah blah. And it's inevitable in the end, no matter what you do about it. And it doesn't affect me in any way besides the ways I had just stated. It's just the process of things when you've carried a lot, and it's an unfortunate burden I carry, and fucking what can you do? And I know all of this sounds half-assed and fake, I'm just saying these things to reassure the ghost and whatnot, but it's not like that. It's more of just that is how it is for me. I just, you learn to adapt and adjust, and you just do. But as for why I can't sleep, that's a lot to really unravel, and I'm not gonna unravel everything, but I don't know. I'm thinking about a lot again tonight. it sucks. And, sometimes I'm starting to forget what it is I'm even thinking about at times. And I don't know if I should be concerned, considering that, what it is, but I've been trying to understand it myself. Because I don't think I'm forgetting. I think it's just becoming a pile of a lot of things. Where it'll hit me from time to time. And I'll remember once I dig through it and try to resolve whatever that pile contains. And it's a lot, but it's normal, to say the least. But I have a bod hidden somewhere talking about this subject, but I'm not going to go as in depth about it now. Dad's birthday's tomorrow. It's currently the 6th. And once midnight hits tomorrow, it'll be the 7th. He would have turned 56 years old. Ain't that crazy? 50 fucking 6. You have no idea how many times I'd be calling him old. I find it crazier that he was growing white hair by the time he had 40. But that was Dad. And I guess for the 7th, I'm probably going to go away for a bit. I plan to just kind of remember, kind of just swim in my own thoughts for the day and do what I can. Because it's been almost 4 years since he's been gone. I may be miscounting. And it's not that I don't keep track. I do keep track. It's just life kind of knocks you off balance and you tend to just lose track of yourself. And like I said, go through that pile, slowly unravel things. But I have it written down, both in paper and on my phone. I kept track of every day. I used to do it because I kind of went through the stage of grief that I didn't believe he was gone. And I never told anybody that. I kept track every day because I thought it would be a big funny prank and, hey, Dad ain't gone. I'm sure he'll turn up. And every day since then, I looked for him everywhere. Even after knowing. I just didn't want to accept the truth. Because that man was as tough as a motherfucker. Nothing could knock him down, and now he's definitely down. And it's a piece of grief that I don't think I'll ever get over. I don't think it'll ever go away. And it surprises me because I've grieved before for Dad. I've grieved heavily. I even got to an extent around my middle school days that I went out on walks while it was raining and cried. Opened that I would understand grief. I studied. That was my main reason for picking up psychology. I wanted to understand grief. But grief is something that happens and you don't really ever get over. You just kind of learn to accept, and it doesn't really change over time. And it's a heavy thing to understand. And it's crazy because you'll even feel grief for those you resented. You'll feel grief for those maybe you just despised, loved, hated, cared, or didn't even know. It is just human to feel grief. And it is such a weird thing. But for these past couple of months, grief is all that surrounds me, and when I go to bed and try to sleep, I question just about anything you would expect. And I've studied again, and I've tried my best, and I understand to a good amount now, but I think it's just those feelings that aren't going to go away. And now with two things making me feel the way as of this month, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. To me personally, that grief in my chest just feels so tightening, and I relive it again and again. I have my regrets. I have the things I still doubt, and overall just the same old thoughts. And it's a weird thing again, and you would expect, I guess, someone like me to have it sorted to an extent, but this isn't something as easy as managing. No matter how much time will pass, it'll feel lighter, but it won't go away. Because as I said before, I grieved before this old man, and that grief is just now stacked upon the rest. And it never went away. I've carried that since I was a kid. And it's a lot just for a singular person to have to bear, and but that's fine. I always find a way. Even now, with just how I've been feeling, I'll manage. No matter how much I said that, something that you just don't do that. I'll do my best to figure it out, even if I don't at the end of my life. Because I guess that's just who I am. But a lot of things linger in my head. I've revisited a lot of old, but I haven't brought them into my new. I've had people get worried about me, reasonably so, but not because of an act of something foolish. I'm better than that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't just leave people hanging around like that. I can't. But I don't know. Revisiting the past, and I don't mean like a year ago past. I mean, fuck, like when I was a kid. I've gone through a lot of it just to figure out myself again, to remember what made myself feel like me. And while opening all those past memories, I came in conflict with unresolved things that I've avoided for so long. And don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna go in depth to a point where like a professional needs to hear about this. God, no. I don't think I have anything that deep. Well, I don't know. I won't share anything too deep, at least. Not here. Not with anybody. But I guess you just don't realize how much you really gone through in life until you remember by re-looking at those things or revisiting them. And it's just, it's a lot. And I think the thing that probably saddens me the most is that I am at an age that I feel older than I shouldn't. Or than I should, sorry. I just feel so tattered and exhausted by everything I do. And yet I still keep picking up a lot of stuff because I want to learn more and more about anything and everything around me. Sometimes I'm very stubborn and I don't give myself breaks, and sometimes I just don't get it to the point where I want to understand it, even if it breaks my head. And that sometimes is me being self-destructive or afraid of being behind or being looked upon as stupid. But in the end, I also do it because learning those certain things are interesting. Whether it be the psychology behind my own mind, or maybe something more that requires physical attention, handiwork of some sort. But going back to the topic of grief and combining it to the topic of revisiting old, I've gone through my own timeline a lot. And to an extent, I guess I haven't let go of my own past. I mean, it kind of haunts me every day. And there's nothing extreme there, as if now. I just don't understand myself either. I don't understand how I managed to do the things I did. Because now I feel like they're all resurfacing and I'm just being suffocated by them again, and I need to redo it all over. Part of it is my own fault, but most of it was just unresolved stuff that I should have tried more on, but I can't blame even myself because life is just constantly moving, and sometimes you get caught up in so many things that the past and the present collide, and you just have a hard time making time for any of it, and you build yourself underneath, or you build on top of things that are still actively moving, and they slowly chip away at the brick that you built it upon, and you need to figure it out. And for the majority, I get it. It's like reading a book, but failing that AR test that comes with it. I read it so many times, but I still get the answers wrong. Why? I feel like to an extent I'm not retaining it, or I'm lying to myself, or my last guess is I'm intellectualizing and not feeling. Because to feel and not just say, and to go through and not just to run, is understanding. And the experience I have and how much I understand, I think it just gets hard to pick it up again. But it still gets confusing. I still lose it at times. It slips away from me. And I don't know why. Truthfully, I wish I had an answer. And I have gotten multiple answers to the way I think and what I think, and most times the answer is there's no answer. And you just kind of have to find control over it, or sometimes you just have to feel it out, or sometimes you just have to dig deeper to understand the roots, and it's just so confusing. Because it all becomes odd. It's just situational. And like I said, I've done my studying. These past couple of months have been nothing but both for myself and school. Trying to pick it up and understand. And yet I'm failing again and again, and sure, that's fine. I'm not really upset that I'm fucking failing at the things I'm doing. That's completely normal. I'll get it. I'm still gonna try them, whether it's my stubbornness or just, my, I don't know, my motivation to keep trying, just because I don't like quitting, and I just like to continuously pursue what I want to understand and what I want, and just, all those cheesy things. I'm still just gonna get tired at points, no matter what I do. And it sucks. And that's been like the sad reality of my life. Just constantly trying and failing, working and trying and failing, working and trying and failing. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes that process is broken, but now I gotta go to the next portion and try that again and fail again, and it's tiring as fuck. But I'm being very blunt with, or not blunt, sorry, I'm being very, I forget the word, but I'm not being indirect with what I'm saying. Not for any exclusive reason, just some things are meant for, just, I don't know, deeper talks, and I don't feel like going anything close to anything crazy. But regardless, I mainly just, wanted to talk about the topic of grief. And I still grieve for both people who are dead and both who are still alive. And I always feel weird saying it like that, just because, they're the same thing at the end of the day. It's just more, the specification is to sound so grueling, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really admit this much, but I do miss my dad. No matter how many hardships he'd put me through and whatnot, he made my life a living hell to an extent. I do miss the good times, but I will not forget the bad. And at a time where I'm at currently right now, I would have loved his guidance. Because as much as I always say that he was pretty dumb, he was smart. If anything, he was the version of me who wouldn't speak at all. Dad and I were very similar in a lot. And as much as I hate admitting that, because I don't ever want to become the person he was, it's true. The same ambitions and strengths we share, where we shared the same ambitions and strengths and the same stubbornness and whatnot. Obviously, I picked up all of that from him to an extent. But I tried to make sure it was only the good and leave out the bad. And either way, I looked up to him. As much as I disliked him, I still looked up to him. He did a lot of good, and he showed me to be good. Dad was kind, but he was silent. He hardly talked, at least to me. And he didn't need words, because somehow I already knew what he was trying to say all the time. And he was a strange person at the same time. He was mysterious. He didn't like sharing a lot about his past, but I think to an extent maybe he was just waiting for someone to ask specific things, and no one really did. And when they did, maybe he felt like it was too late and he didn't want to share it. I don't know. He confused me as much as anybody else. And I mean, I'm sure that's where I get that mysterious benefactor from. It's not intentional. It's just more of, I don't know. I also grew on the path of just staying silent a lot. I hardly spoke. I hardly tried meeting people. And when I did, I was afraid that if they got to know me and my own past of things, or just what I've been through in life, that they would disappear. And there were times that did happen when those people would ask me, and it was probably too much for them, and I get it. I'm not upset about it. I kind of knew before even speaking, and maybe Dad felt the same way. Who knows? I tried my best as the years went by to decode that man, and I could never figure it out. But I know at the end of the day, no matter how much hatred flooded his mind and his hard for his existence, and how he lived life, how he was forced to manage as well, I know at the end of the day he meant well. He tried his best without the guidance that he needed from those who were gone, just like me. He made do with what he had, and he tried his best constantly, almost killing himself every day. And I witnessed, and I admired the efforts he made. And as I grew older, I was hoping to be able to take all that off his shoulders. But now they're on mine. So, again, I miss him every day. No matter how bad I talk about the bad he did to me. This grief thing is confusing, but it doesn't make what I'm saying any less correct. He was strong in ways that I wish I could be right now. One thing I don't wish is, or one thing I don't want that he did is sleep for like 3 days straight because he wasn't feeling great. And I'm sure there was good reason behind it, but Jesus Christ. I can't even sleep for more than 8 hours. Well, not even 8 hours, 6 hours, or 4 half the time. And it's right back to it. But maybe that's why he was always exhausted. Couldn't blame him. I would be too. But now I sit in the position that you once were in, and it scares me deeply. Because I am alone. I've always been alone in that. No matter who was with me and who wasn't at the time. I always felt alone. Because I have to figure it out. I have to start from scratch and live with the same guidance you had, old man, which was barely any. Just kind of go off of what you learned in school or anywhere you picked things up, and live life with half-assed answers. And I get it. I'm trying to do better for everybody, for myself. I've been doing that same effort for so many years. Try to make sure that those I lost aren't forgotten. And in this sense, I don't mean the ones who are alive. I carry the promises of those who I can no longer talk to. I carry the burdens and the weight they no longer have to. And sometimes I get upset about it. I won't lie. Because it's a lot. To fulfill something for someone who isn't there to see you accomplish it anymore. It's a lot for one person to take. Especially when so many things are afoot. But I'm trying my best. And I'll continue to try my best. But just, I just need patience from just people around me. Because I am just one soul. But grief is an odd thing. I'm still trying to figure it out. I still haven't let go of a lot of things. And I'm still trying to fix what I can. I've made a lot of progress. I've come to understand a lot more than I did before and sit again with this familiar feeling. My English is probably going to be pretty bad every now and then just because, I don't know, my tongue hasn't really been a friend as of late. Or sometimes certain words become others and I don't know what it is really. Could be tiredness, exhaustion, or I don't know, accidents. But I'm trying. And it's all I can do. I've had people from the past that I wish nothing to do with contact me recently, and I don't understand why they keep trying to find me. And these are people that I made the choice to leave, not the ones that made the choice to leave me. As for those, I guess I'm still waiting for something. I'm not sure what, because there's a huge possibility that there's nothing coming. But part of me likes to have some hope in something. But that's a whole different topic for a whole nother time. But I reminisced into the past a lot recently. I revisited myself and who I used to be to who I became, and went through every person I was to who I am now. And I know that phrasing can be pretty confusing, but it's the truth. We're different people in our life as we go on. We change a lot. Sometimes to things we don't like, to things we're okay with, or in the end, hopefully, to the people we want to be. But I've gone through my collection of, things, and it's been so muddy going from just surviving to building personality and trying to take in the last bits of whatever childhood I could. And then not long after, having to be aware of everything and maturing and just having to understand the world a lot quicker than most, not being able to enjoy what the things that are currently going around are. That's probably why I feel old and why I can't say fucking skibbity toilet without sounding stupid. Or why I feel like I can't say the word dude anymore. Just 'cause I've missed out on a lot. It's crazy to miss out on things that you were still around for. And it just feels so weird. But I still question my being even now with everything going on and who I was to who I am. Just because I always look at who I was. And I remember hating that person so much. I acted on anger most times. I build up hatred for myself, and I had to learn to stop. I blamed myself for a lot. I put myself in situations that I shouldn't have. I've lost people that I never thought I'd lose. And I've been tossed around both in the metaphorical way and the literal way, and I've been just everywhere a person probably shouldn't be in one life. But it's not unheard of. I'm not special in any regard like that. It's a almost average thing. And yet I sit here confused because I feel safe for the first time in my life. More physically than I do mentally. Because mentally I get stuck in those iterations of the past, and it gets hard. I just look around me all the time. I look at my own palms, the palm of my hands, and remembering following those lines when I was a kid. Remembering how small they were to how long and big they've gotten now. Remembering hearing people say that if your lines connect, you'll have a long, good life, and if they don't, you'll have a short, sad one. Kids were stupid back then, and they still are now, but yeah, it's just strange to go from all of those things to now I have my own desk, my own phone, my little trinkets and shit, and my own TV, my own Xbox, my own things that I'm sure if my younger self would see, would be excited, would be happy. I have my own place, my own bed after 21 years without one. I have the internet under my own name, my house, and my own glasses prescription that I want to go get, and just I'm my own I'm doing my GED under my own name, and sure, it's not fun because I could have just graduated 3 fucking times now. I'm sure that portion of me would have been happy, but I'm sure he still would have been sad because of all the work I had to put into it. Because I missed out on things, and now I get to revisit and rewatch and redo and, buy and get excited about because I couldn't have them then. I mean, buying Zoopal fucking plates was amazing and shit like that, and I wish for a lot of things to have been different when I was a kid, without a doubt. I think a lot of people tend to. And just knowing that me as a kid would have been happy with the state I was in, not so much for what happens in between and, what I do in terms of where I go, and I know those things will be terrifying, but at least we've made it somewhere a lot better than I ever was. Sure, it may not seem like a lot to those who I've been around, but it's a lot to me. And even when people question my moralities on life and stuff like that compared to where I came from, and I get it. I question it myself too. I mean, that's the existential part that I tend to go through on a day-to-day basis when, my eyes feel like they're actually open for the first time, and I take in the reality of, like, holy shit, that is my couch that I can sit on, or that is, my Lunchables that I bought because I just fucking felt like it. That is the interesting part. I just going from the things I've gone through to now. And it's just so existential because going back to the people I was, I went from being such a rebellious, stupid dumbass, doing things that I thought were cool or I thought were gonna put me somewhere that I would gain some respect for, or I just thought that were just interesting, to, getting hurt real bad and losing people and having to go through that whole cycle of stuff. Stop speaking and learning and become more just angry with myself, hating myself, dwelling on the things I went through, and never being able to live life fully, but having to continue no matter what until I couldn't take it. And then I started being patient with myself. Hell, I still hated myself. I still do to an extent too. But I'm at peace with myself more than I was ever before. I still went to the shitter and it wasn't fun. But would I ever change any of it? No. Do I wish it were different? To an extent, yes. But it made me to the person I am today. As to who that is, I'm still I'm still figuring it out. But I have my morals in place. And I'm sure every version of myself, every person I was, would stare me down, confused too. Because how do you go from all that from witnessing and watching and losing, from loving to hating, and to the person you are now, where you understand emotion and thought from yours and others. You understand gesture and behavior, but yet you still try to learn more. You picked up a lot more than you bargained for, and somehow you used it against it all and became someone more wise than you ever thought, even if your own family don't see you that way. You know, I still got my dumb moments for sure, without a doubt. But I have a lot to take in. I still have a long way to go. I still have a lot of things I need to do. And I continue to do. I read more questions than I've ever asked. But to end off this session of grief and thoughts and all that, I didn't forget about your birthday either. Took everything in me to not message you in some format and telling you. Because I don't know what's going on in your life. Because who knows, maybe my unwanted hello could ruin a lot that I know. That and you didn't say happy birthday to me. So I think it's fair that you probably don't want me to tell you. But I still sit here every day thinking about you. Amongst everything, you aren't the main reason for everything I just talked about. Those are all their own things, but you're still there. One of the top three. I don't think you'll ever come across this. If anything, I don't know anything anymore. I still have a lot of questions that were unanswered. And I don't know if I'll ever get an answer to. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? And before it sounds like I'm at peace with things, I'm not. You know, you still appear in my dreams from time to time. I see a bunch of reminders of you everywhere I go, and it gets saddening at times. I'll see things that I can't tell you about anymore, or I'll do something, or go through something, or just have an adventure that you'll never want to hear about again. And it sucks. It truly sucks. Because a lot of the things that happen in the end tell me a lot, but they don't at the same time. And just like anyone going through anything similar to what I am, I replayed it a billion of times. And I still don't get it. And I think I'm trying to find an answer at times, and I need to stop trying to find an answer to something that has its own answers already, or will never have an answer. And I hate mentioning it like this, but this reminds me similar to what Gib went through. And I remember hearing her that day, and it made me sad, but I did not want to leave her side, because I cared for her a lot. For the day when she was just left empty-handed, she cried to me, asking me, why are people like that? Why do they just leave and not give you an answer? Why do they just choose to hurt you and not even take a glance back to realize what they did? And I knew exactly how that felt, even before this. And I told her sometimes we just don't get those answers, and we have to live with it. And it sucks. And I'm sorry you have to go through that. I felt so bad that I couldn't give her something more. That I couldn't give her the answer to it all, because I'd never had it myself. No one does. But all I did was be there for her, to make sure that she didn't have to feel alone in it. But I knew in the end, no matter, even if the person you're with understands, you're still gonna feel alone. Because the person who left, you're the only one who understood. So no matter, even then, the noise you surround yourself with isn't gonna silence it. Isn't gonna make you feel like, it's not gonna make you feel less alone. It'll just come in pricks every now and then. You'll try to disconnect from it, but you can't. And it's just a matter of accepting it. And just remembering that. I remember to myself, I would think about how I just never wanted to go through that again, because I understood her pain, I understood her cries, and I just knew how it felt. I've been there before. And her and I guess, also developed abandonment issues at a point in time, and we both talked about it, understood them, and it was a lot. Her and I made a lot of progress. That's why I considered her one of my greatest friends, one of my closest, because her and I have had the same issues to the point where we outgrown and grew them, and we're still learning to fix them, and we're still learning to understand them, and so on and so forth. That was the beauty of our friendship, that we understood that it was going to happen again at times where we felt the way we did, even though we outgrew it. It sucks. But you just have to accept it. Sometimes you just have to feel it. Sometimes you just have to. Just, swim in that pool for a bit. Otherwise, you'll just drown if you don't learn how to swim. But to conclude all of this, I have a million things going through my head. I can't sleep at times because of it. And the purpose for this is none. Just to speak my mind and leave it somewhere for someone to find one day if they wanted to. Or on my last days, maybe it can be, redug out and people can just kind of understand the mind of somebody who, I don't know, whatever you determined me to be. But I think about you all the time. I see reminders of everyone I've lost, but mainly you. Everywhere I go. And I can never tell you about them, and it sucks. I'm hoping that maybe one day I could. But maybe that hope is foolish for me to hold. Because who knows if you're even thinking about me anymore. If you even glance at your phone and think, maybe I should. I don't know. I couldn't tell you if I knew you so well that you would, because I don't know you anymore. And I don't mean that in the sense to break anyone's heart, but I mean that in the sense that the reality of things is that the amount of time has passed has most likely changed who we are to an extent. We are not the same people we were those past couple of months ago. At least, I know you probably aren't. As for me, the only thing that's changed about me is having a better perspective of everything. A newer, fresher, and cleaner perspective. Things I already understood and things that I've come to find out and learn and figure out. I can't say I've become wiser. God, no. Can we say that I became smarter? But what I can say is I understand more. I repeated that day, like I said, 1,000,000,000 times in my head, and I never stayed, or I was never mad at your reasoning, but I was sad. I was disappointed. Because of 1,000,000 things. I mean, to be given up on like that really sucks. I wanted to fight, and even to an extent I still am. It's just can't do it forever. And maybe I'll realize that soon, but for now, my feelings aren't shifted. The way I thought and the way I think, none of that has changed in any perspective. Because the only person who really understood anything deeper than what most decided to see was me. Time has changed enough where maybe you are just a whole different human being. I couldn't tell you. But I'll tell you again. I haven't changed based on those things. I haven't gone out of my way to do anything foolish or stupid or reconcile with the past and those who I used to know. I amended things with Gib. Because at the end of the day, she is a really good friend of mine. One of the closest. And sure, I know what I've talked about, and I know what we've been through, but we've both grown a lot together. I've seen her grow up, and the way we both fought to an extent was like siblings, and we both have hurt each other in the process. Nothing too extreme, but we matured and talked like adults. Because there's an extent that you cannot cross with people from your past. That if they hurt you so bad, whether it be physical or mental, and break you down to the point where you just hate your entire being, you don't go back to that. Because that process will repeat. But forgive, it was never like that. Sure, I was distraught. I was sad. I was mad at times. Because things were just so confusing. I was definitely used. And we've come to terms with that. She's apologized and realized, and she's done the biggest and the most mature thing anyone in my life has ever done, and that is to acknowledge and apologize for those things. That is the most noble and adult act anyone can do. To acknowledge your mistakes and confront the person, no matter how scary it can be, because of the outcome that you're unsure of. That is maturing. And I respect her a lot for that, because even I was not perfect in those situations. We're both not perfect human beings. But I'm proud of her. She's done a lot. Like I said, it's like watching my own sibling grow up. Look at her living her life, with her boyfriend and making a name for herself to an extent. She struggles a lot, but goddamn, I'm proud of her. I hope one day maybe she'll find this just as much as anyone I've ever talked about in terms of just, good friends. So they know. Even though they might already, because I'm very vocal to my friends about how much I appreciate them. But if the inevitable were to happen, because even I got some things that I can't avoid. I hope they know. I hope Gib knows that I'm proud of her, and I've always been. She's helping me grow a lot too. She's given me a whole new perspective of being a human being. To put your foot down and, have some self-respect for yourself. And she's shown me boundaries and so many things. She's shown me toughness as well, to not let people stomp over you. And she's also shown me vulnerability. And I won't say that she did all of that. I mean, life itself has humbled me in those aspects as well. But just like Gib, there's Bostrom. Bostrom is another good person. His mind is always set on the good, and I know every day he feels distraught and bored, or sometimes even disappointed with himself. He might not say a damn thing about it, but I can hear it in him. I can see it. He wants a lot more than what he's got, even if what he's got is okay enough. And he strives for that. He strives for the things that he really wants, and I love that about him. It's amazing. He has so much motive and so much heart compared to most I've seen. He keeps trying even though he's failing. He realizes the situation, he understands, and sure, it's sad because, or it's not sad for me, I know he gets sad about it. And I understand it completely. In terms of like men's mental health and shit like that or whatever. Him and I are very on par about those things. And sometimes him and I disagree, same as Gib and and I love that. I love when people disagree with me, not because I feel like I'm alright, fuck no, but because it opens my eye to things that I would have never figured out. I like to listen and understand and do more, though. My friends challenge me. Hell, even Candy does the same things. I've also watched her grow, with her relationship too, and just herself as a human being. I've helped her, and I've tried to, learn from, her, Pam, or Human, and those who I've met. Hell, Adrian and Luis are there too. And I've said my fair share of things about these people to you, and I won't lie. Yes, we all have got our sort of problems, but at the end of the day, we all stay true to ourselves. And I just have a lot of respect for those type of things. I love those people. They're my friends, and they're all unique in their own ways. I couldn't ask for anything better. And I'm proud of every single one of them for all they've accomplished and all they've done and all they're still going through and how tough they are. Because at times I can never be as strong as them, even if they see me as strong enough. I'm not. But regardless, point is, even then, I miss you. I miss the conversations we had. I miss just the energy you brought to the things you told me, and just how much you've taught me, how much you've shown me, how our dynamic worked so well, weirdly enough, and just overall how it all just made sense. Even now, it's been 4 months, and I still miss it all. I don't know if you're coming back. It's kind of hard to tell because, I live all the way over here. So chances are you could have just forgotten about me by now. Who knows? Maybe I didn't make much of an impact as much as I thought I did, or maybe I did. It's not for me to determine anymore. But I really do hope you at least think of me at times. I hope you find happiness in the ways I couldn't provide. And at the end of the day, sure, you told me it was just a you problem, but both of us had things we could have done better. As I always told you, it's not I, it's we. And I don't blame you in the end. I understood you completely. I have the right to be angry. I have the right to be upset, disappointed, and all these things, sure. But I won't be angry. I will be disappointed. I will be upset. I will be confused, distraught, sad. And I have every right to express those things. I have every right to feel that way. Because I lost something more than I bargained for. And there's a lot more to it than I will say. But I never believe that it's ever too late just to even talk again. And I've thought about why I even want that, or, I know the questions you'll probably ever have about it is why I would ever see you any different, or why I still even care or whatnot. It's really simple, because at the end of every single day around you, I chose you. Not because of some pity fucking reasoning, or because I felt like I was stuck in some loop and I had to. No, but because I wanted to. And that's as simple as it gets. And those couple of words have a bigger meaning than you can probably hear. But I think you already know those things if you were to give yourself a chance and open the door that you ran away from. But again, everything I say isn't meant to inflict guilt to get you somewhere that you might not want to be. That guilt is made by yourself, from yourself. I have no doing in any of that. And that is the truth. Just as much as if you were to tell me I hurt you in some way, I'm gonna feel guilty, because that is my guilt. And that guilt is usually just realization and truth behind it all. Nonetheless, once again, I'll end this with a final message. I'll miss everything about you. This isn't a goodbye from me, as I didn't even get a chance to say, nor you didn't, or did you. I never wanted a goodbye, and I still don't. Because even if reconciliation is on the table, I wouldn't rush into anything that we shouldn't. I would like to rebuild and just go from wherever our minds desire and hearts and all that cheesy shit. But I miss you as much as I miss my old man and all those things. It's hard to grieve for someone who's still alive, and I'm not wishing anything weird upon it all. It's just more difficult. Although I don't run into you where I'm at, I still see people who are very uncannily similar to you, and it scares me because even I feel guilty. Even I feel embarrassed. Even I feel ashamed, and if you were to ever see me, I just feel like you'd feel the same back. And I guess I don't want that for you. But I wouldn't stop and try. I wouldn't stop and just leave. I would try. Or at least I would try until you allowed me to. Because I have too much respect to just come out of the blue and just slowly try to creep in, and fuck no. I'm not like that. But regardless, I need to at least try to lay down and swim in these thoughts once again until I can knock out. But my mind is full of a lot. And who knows, maybe one day someone will see this, hear this, and just listen to the mind of I don't listen to the thoughts of someone who's losing their mind to an extent. Not really. I'm more just lost from time to time. But I'll be probably just alone for a while. I mean, it's not too different from that day. It's just been me for the most part. And I think to get used to that again is difficult. Because I don't think you ever felt what that was truly like. You've described it to me, but we have different perceptions of it. To make peace with silence, that I didn't think I'd have to again. But it's not a terrible thing. It's just hard because I miss the noise that you brought in my life. But I don't know what the future holds. And neither do you. But I hope for something. I hope for you to speak and break those walls down and leave the ego and stubbornness behind just to be able to actually say something. But who knows? I don't. But I hope you're okay. I hope you have a good day, morning, and night, and life. This isn't a goodbye. Just merely a see you next time. So as always, I miss you. I hope to